Laura Lynott, we have a cruise ship and a fatal virus. It's not the plot of a movie, it's actual real life. Tell me about the cruise ship to start with. Where was it going?
Okay, so it's the MV Hondius, and that's a Dutch flagged ship, a cruise ship, and it was a polar expedition, and it was going from Argentina, and it was meant to end at Cape Verde, but it went to various different places with penguins and very wild birds in the Falklands, in different places, different islands in the South Atlantic. And then along the way, it set off on April 1st, and along the way there was 3 deaths in total, which is obviously quite shocking.
Yeah, so, OK, given it's a cruise ship, you could inadvertently, unfortunately, given the age profile of people on board, somebody could die. So that's not abnormal. For 3 people to die and for others to become infected with something, that is. So what is believed to have happened here? OK,
so at first people were likely thinking this is a man who's passed away, who's older. He was a 70-year-old Dutch national, and unfortunately the corpse had to stay on the ship for a couple of weeks, which is, as you can imagine, that must have been heartbreaking for anyone involved. Then his wife went off the ship with him a couple of weeks later. So she went to travel with the body, and then she was travelling to Johannesburg, and when she made her way back, she became ill. And on the 27th of April, the ship were notified that she had actually passed away, and tests were carried out, and it found that it was Hantavirus. So it was quite shocking.
So that's 2 people dead, and then you mentioned a third as well.
Yeah, on the 27th, on the same day, there was a German national, a woman, who then died, and that was found to be suspected Hantavirus as well. And in total now, I think it's now, because the numbers are changing, they're going up, it seems to be suspected 8 cases. And there's been a lot of developments in this story overnight as well.
Yeah, so where are they at now? Because this is a difficulty we saw during COVID-19. You have a ship, an outbreak on board, and authorities at various ports are unwilling to take them. So what's happened with this ship now?
Okay, yeah, really interesting. It's got echoes of the COVID-19 pandemic when you had cruise ships that were filled with people, some that were infected and some that weren't, and then the countries where they were trying to dock would not take them. So it's got echoes of that. So their end destination was meant to be Cape Verde, and they did go there, and they've been there for a number of days now, but Cape Verde has refused to take them. Just stating that they don't know what's going on, really. They don't know the risk, etc. So overnight, 3 people have just been evacuated, and now the Spanish government has said the next closest place to take them is the Canary Islands, and under international law, he said that they have a duty to help them as well as morally. But the only problem is there's a political standoff now. And it seems that the Canary Islands don't want to take the boat.
The advantage, I suppose, of going to the Canary Islands, you have a more developed health system, part of Spain, part of the EU. You're more connected into that kind of system, and obviously the WHO involved here as well. So as of now, we're waiting to see what happens between the local authorities in Tenerife and the Spanish government, Madrid, about what exactly happens with this ship. Do we have an Irish interest here?
Yes, we do. We have an Irish woman who's on board with another passenger, and she's called Anne Lane. She has spoke to the media in recent days, and she used to be the personal assistant of Mary Robinson, and she used to also be the personal assistant of Ivana Bacik. So she's very well known in political circles. So she spoke, and she was incredibly stoic. Like, even though you can't, can any of us imagine how stressful that situation would be? It was so impressive, under those circumstances. She just said that it had been so shocking what had happened when the first man died, and there was a lot of questions of what's happened. And I think it was perhaps the not knowing that was the worst bit for her and some of the others. And then when they found out, It was when the Dutchman's wife left the ship, and she said that she was incredible. It seemed healthy on the ship, and then she left, and then she passed away. And then obviously it was a case of, oh my goodness, how are we going to get out of this? But she just said like she had full trust in the cruise company, and she said that we just have to hang in there, which is just it's very admirable that you could be so strong in that situation.
Yeah, it seems to be pretty reputable cruise company.
Yeah.
What is what's the protocol here? Someone dies on board a ship. What happens in terms of I suppose even logistics, like storage of the body, carrying out an autopsy, discovering a cause of death?
Yeah. Well, it sounds like it's really organised, like a kind of a little city in a way. All cruise ships have to have a medical unit, and I was quite surprised to find out they actually have an intensive care unit too. So if somebody gets seriously ill, they can care for them there. I take it until they can go on land, and they also have obviously medical staff. If somebody passes away, they have to log it on the ship's log, and then they tell the flag state. So in this case, it's obviously a Dutch flag. So and then they have to, if they feel it's suspicious, then they have a security team on board that looks into it, investigates, and the flag state investigates if they're near. But if they're not near, then it's the nearest land. Also, if somebody passes away, they have a chapel, and they have a morgue that is usually on the lower deck, and you can usually hold up to 3 corpses.
Laura Lynott, thank you.
Thanks so much.